Yesterday's primary election setting up the scene for November, which candidates came out on top of a crowded field in Davenport.
And harvest season continues, and it might affect your drive. What you should know before hitting the road.
Live from the Local 4 News Studios, this is Fox 18 News at 7 in high definition.
Good morning, everybody, on this Wednesday morning. I'm Anchor Terry.
And I'm Alexandria Ikomoni. Thanks for waking up with us on Fox 18 News at 7. Let's get started with your local news, beginning with our top story.
Davenport voters narrowed down the field during last night's primary election. The mayoral choices have been cut down from 6 to 2.
But that race may be headed for a recount. Fox 18's Andrea Medina joined us live in our studio. Good morning, Andrea. Now, how could this actually happen?
Hey guys, good morning. So the current numbers are still considered the unofficial count. However, Alderman Mike Mattson and Alderwoman Rita Rawson are the two expected to advance the general election on November 5th. But Alderman Rawson and businessman Dan Portis are also separated by only 8 votes. Now the numbers on your screen are coming from Scott County. As you can see, Alderman Mattson easily moves onto the November ballot, but Alderman Rawson and Portis are neck and neck. When the vote is that close, a candidate can request a recount. Absentee ballots will be counted up until noon today, and at that point the numbers will be made official. But regardless of which candidate moves on, voters last night say they had a few things in mind as they were going over their options at the polls.
Infrastructure, business development, and then of course fire and police departments. I think we've got so much to do in those areas. We need to get that bolstered in place properly and get some development going and grow this city.
At the moment, Portis is just 9 votes away from declaring victory. That's unless the official ballot count gives him more votes. A recount can be requested anytime until 5 p.m. on Friday. And if that were to happen, the recount would be next Monday. And just a friendly reminder out there that the general election is on November 5th. Alexandria.
Andrea, thank you. Now, for the Davenport City Council, only 6 out of the 13 alderman candidates will be moving on to the November elections. Now, for Third Ward Alderman, incumbent Marion McGinnis is fighting to move on. McGinnis and Phil Armour came out on top.
In the 4th Ward, incumbent Ray Ambrose faced 3 challengers. He and Jeffrey Bass are the winners in that one. And a crowded field for 5th Ward with 6 people running. Matthew Dorman and Christy Miller both move on to November.
Right now, a family and community are mourning after a 9-year-old girl died in a car crash. Addison Headley died last Saturday after the car hit a tractor carrying a grain cart in Sterling. The 4th grader went to Chadwick Milledgeville schools her whole life. Her principal says Addie was full of joy.
Probably the most creative young lady I've ever seen. Biggest heart, friendliest little girl you'd ever meet. Anytime she'd see you, she wanted to give you a hug. Everybody was her friend. I don't know if she ever met somebody she didn't want to talk to and tell a story to.
The principal says the school will pay tribute to Addison very soon.
Almost 7:04. The push for more protection for first responders on the roads continues in Illinois. The move over law, known as Scott's Law, requires drivers to slow down and, if possible, move over when they see a parked vehicle with flashing lights. U.S. Senator Dick Durbin and U.S. Representative Sherry Bustos announced new legislation yesterday at the Illinois State Police headquarters in East Moline. It aims to increase fines and better awareness of Scott's Law to protect first responders.
It's been a difficult year for the Illinois State Police. We've lost more troopers this year than any other year in our nearly 100-year history, and at least 2 of those are a result of violations of the move over law. And that's why it's very important to the Illinois State Police, as well as everybody who works in law enforcement or as a first responder in any fashion, to make sure that this law is observed.
The new legislation goes into effect on January 1st. Violators will be hit with a $250 fine for the first offense, and it'll jump to $750 on the second.
A shelter that was a resource for people with HIV and AIDS closed its doors a year ago, but now a shelter will open them again with some changes. De La Cerda House is a local nonprofit in Rock Island that has safe and affordable housing. They also connect people with the health care that they need. Federal funding forced the closure, but now it'll be called Rob's House. The executive director says she's excited to get the house back up and running.
It was very hard for the agency to temporarily close this house when the funding for the federal government changed, and we weren't sure if we were going to be reopening, but we were able to find that new funding source, and we're able to get back on our feet and get going.
Rob's house will be open today at 3 for donors and 5:30 for the public. Jordan says the agency is hoping to have the house open and available by the beginning of next month.
Harvest season is here, and with it comes the potential for backups on the roads. That's because drivers will now have to share the road with tractors and other farming equipment.
Yeah, Fox 18's Zachary Winnicky took a ride in one of those tractors and tells us how farmers are doing their best to not slow you down.
I use vacation days and come out, and I just enjoy doing it.
For Trooper Dan, harvest season means he gets to go out and help do something he loves. For the rest of us, it means more traffic.
If you're out on the roads now, that there'll be a lot more equipment out on the roads that we have to share the roads with, and hopefully in a safe way.
And this machinery is huge. Tractors and combines that tower over semi-trucks can carry over 80,000 pounds worth of crops. They also don't move all that fast. Today we trucked along at about 3.5 miles an hour. For cars sharing the road with these machines, that can spell disaster if they're not careful.
Just because of the size and the weight of the equipment, we don't want to have a crash happen. And unfortunately, more often the people in the smaller vehicle are going to lose that battle as far as being injured.
It's basically like hitting a wall. So when it comes to being safe during harvest season, patience and awareness are key.
Equipment's not going very far down the road, so if you don't have to pass, maybe just wait a mile or two. More than likely it's going to be pulling off. And if you do pass, just make sure that you give yourself plenty of room when you're going around that equipment.
Harvest season did get a late start this year because of the floods and rain, so be on the lookout for these machines for about the next 2 months.
Zachary Winnicky reporting. Now, Trooper Dan also added the farmers do their part by staying off the main roads and not being on roads at all at nighttime.
Yeah, very important this time of year in particular to be on the lookout for those tractors and keep them in mind as you're making your way down the highways, for sure.
Oh, for sure. But by the time people are heading out this morning, hopefully they're not out there already, Ash. But this morning, they are going to need their jacket in the morning, but later today, it's going to be A-okay.
Hey, buddy, sun's up. You got to get to work. You know what I mean?
Time to
And
go.
here today, going to be a great day for it, too. Got to squeeze in all the outdoor work you can today because probably one of the last very, very comfortable days that we're going to have for a while. We are looking at a lot of sunshine today to warm us right back up to the lower 70s, but the winds outside will make it feel not too warm. So kind of the best of both worlds, much like yesterday. This morning in Moline, it feels like 45 and feels like 44 in Davenport. Winds are coming up out of the south today, so that's what kind of drives us getting into the lower 70s, much like yesterday with all that sunshine, just making it feel real nice. Mid-60s by lunchtime today, then lower 70s for the majority of the afternoon. Clouds build in this evening ahead of temperatures cooling down a lot after some rainfall by the end of the week.
I'm happy we had this little period of time where we can just really get ready for what's to come versus just
mentally
hitting
prepare
the
yourself,
ground.
you know? Because it's coming.
It's coming.
Whether you're ready or not. Here it comes.
I'll be inside, so don't worry about it.
I mean, I'm not worried. I don't know about you.
No. I'm
I'm
ready for it.
definitely
I'm
worried.
excited.
I'm good.
Bring it on.
It's coming up. A sneak peek of Netflix's upcoming documentary, Tell Me Who I Am.
The time now is 7:09.
You're watching Fox 18. News is 7.
Fox 18 News is live at 7 with Frederick Terry, Alexandria Ikomoni, and meteorologist Ash Simpson. You're watching Fox 18 News at 7 in high definition.